right, welcome to this edition of Rise and Shine, where we're going to be talking about an interesting conversation today, productivity and the right environment for our community to have that productivity in.
H&H Financial Services in Mobile has over 20 years experience in accounting, bookkeeping, appraisals, real estate, and year-round tax preparations. Give them a call today at 251-438-1620 or visit them at 1560 St. Stephen's Road in Mobile. Let your money grow in our care at H&H Financial Services.
I'm chiropractic physician Dr. James Gordon of the Alabama Injury and Pain Clinic. The biggest problem I see of many of my patients is that they don't have uninsured motorists or coverage on their car insurance. So they get in a wreck, they can't get treatment because the insurance is not there from the other side. Ask your insurance agent about coverage, and then go see me, chiropractor Dr. James Gordon, if you get in an accident. That's 476-PAIN. The choice is yours. Well, I guess the books, many spiritual books say you can't serve two masters. So if you got a conflict, then one's going to lose out.
Well,
one's going to lose out. You got to feed the good. The way the good conquers evil is to feed the good.
Well, a serious mistake that people fatally make is to believe that the influence of the spiritual and the physical is separate. They separate it. And when they separate it, they divide it into what's called spiritual life and secular life. For example, on my spiritual life, I may say I believe in God, but on my second life, I mistreat people in the way I conduct business. That is a conflict. That's a conflict on the spiritual level, and it's a conflict on the physical level.
So, but you're saying the physical, the mental, and the spiritual cannot be separated.
You cannot separate it. If we separate it, then we have, and I have people, I talk with people like this that try to make that separation. They figure on Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, or whatever day, that I can do wrong, but on Sunday, for example,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day your religious day is.
And we got sayings out here in the community about people like that. We say, hey, that biggest sinner on Sunday is the one who's doing this and that. So people got to talk. They understand that you can't live the two lives. It's got to be one life. And when you do that, we call that character. Your character is what you are building. So character building, you have to have all of these areas. And what is character? Character is to show who you are. Because just looking at you, taking a picture of you and seeing you in a picture, say, oh, this is Dr. Gordon, we have to look, that picture don't tell everything. It's just got the physical. But when we look at the whole Dr. Gordon, then we see that character, then we can determine who Dr. Gordon is.
Amen. Okay.
Henry Haseeb.
So I'm trying to put my little squares together, and I got the moral is our beliefs, and the character is our actions, and then the mental state of mind where you're at mentally, where your knowledge and your attitude, and then the physical. We got the environmental surroundings. Mm-hmm. Now under the character, I understand. I know character. I'm just trying to make my little pie chart here. Trying to figure what category my character would go into. But because spiritual and moral is together, mental.
Well, that's you as a whole. That's you as a whole.
So the physical, mental, and the spiritual together makes up the character.
Right, exactly.
Okay, right. So that's sort of where it goes. It started sort of the accumulation.
You've heard of the saying, Doc, that people say that, oh, so and so is two-faced. Now, if you say that
like
to
four
a child,
eyes,
right?
Two-faced, like four eyes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you say that to a child,
it's not the same as four eyes.
If you say it to a child, you may.
You're supposed to say no. I say it's not the same.
Oh no, it's not the same.
Okay, thank you.
But if you say that to a child, they may be thinking you're talking about a person with two faces.
Amen.
Because they have not come in. But when we say two-faced, meaning we know that they act mentally one way with one person, and then they change and they become different with somebody else. So you can't determine what their real character is. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the development of the human being. And you know something else, Doc?
What's that?
You cannot have a human being, a what's called a true human, the real human, that's without these defects that we're talking about, if you don't develop those three areas. If a child, let's say for example, if you have a baby and you never taught that child anything, that baby was just born and never had any teaching, that child will become an adult and it will still be on a baby level. And the same way in the spiritual area. If you don't develop that, then that child will still be a baby on that area. So it's not just the physical, that the physical child comes here as a baby, and if you're able to feed him on the physical level and you let that child grow up and you never taught him anything, then they would be saying that he is deaf and dumb.
I think there's another politically correct word for that these days. But
well, they probably got a lot of politically correct words for that. But I think you understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
So
basically, you got to develop all areas. I've seen many adults, unfortunately, that are lacking in ways. I think what you're saying is their environment, someone along that child's life, be it their family members, it really starts with the family. Starts and ends with the family. So someone in their family dropped the ball to allow this person to become to an adulthood without instilling this knowledge into this person, and therefore the person ends up being in society is going to most likely cause problems for themselves than being a productive member of society. Because if you don't have if you don't not at adult level on the physical, mental, and spiritual, then you can't be a productive member of society because you're going to be lacking in the area, and that's going to show off in the way that you act or treat people, and it's going to end up causing you to be fired all the time or unemployable. And if you're unemployable or fired all the time, then you got to resort to something else to make income for your family, and then the snowball gets bigger. Because it got to be something. It's usually not something legal when you're not fitting in society. It's usually an illegal path. So in order to be a successful human, we got to develop the character, which is these three things: it's physical, mental, and spiritual level. In order for that person to become a productive member of society.
Yeah, and one of the problems that we have here when people attempt to divide the activities from complete surrendering and submission to the will of the Creator, then the rebellions and obedience and division automatically removes them from that natural path of a human being that the human being should go in. And we begin to justify these things. And I talk with people all the time. Whatever wrong that they're doing, if you call it to their attention, then rather than them saying, you know, I'm wrong, I'm just weak right now in the wrong, they will try to justify the wrong. Once they justify the wrong, then it removes them further away from what the human being is and further away from their Creator, and they actually begin to fight against the natural environment called the universe. They begin to work against that, and you know, if you work against the universe, this universe will destroy you.
Well, yeah,
and that's the reason a lot of we see all the ills, and we can probably get different people who got experts in these different areas that can tell us how, if you get away from doing the right thing on a physical level, especially, you know, here in America, we develop cancer and all these other things here. And that's even in trying to do the right thing, but because of those who are producing that we are consuming not the right way, then we are getting all of these ills. The same way on the mental and the spiritual area. If we don't teach the right knowledge, the right information, then, as we say in computer language, garbage in will produce garbage out. Yeah. So if we look at getting back to the community, if we look at our community and we see it's not the environment that we want, then we have to go back and look at the cause and the effect. Well, not so much the blame.
I think one of the things, if you look at your community, your house, your environment, and it's not where you want it to be, we need to look at being that change we want to see. That's where especially the people who are having the resources to do it. It's really frustrating when someone has the resources to make a change and do nothing to make the change. it's really frustrating for me when I see a person making $10 million, $20 million, $100 million a year. They could easily put some type of business in the community they came from, employ a lot of youth, and teach them many life learning skills in that job. That job is not about the money they make. It's not about that's just one part of it. The bigger part is having a positive place where that child can go and learn to be a productive member of society, and then they can get on to their next level. They may not play sports, but they may become the next engineer, the next rocket scientist, the next astronaut, or whatever it takes, whatever they want to be, the next teacher. They get that training, they get that foundation, and that's what you're saying. If you get that strong foundation, you can build on that. But you can't build on a foundation this week.
Right. Well, I agree with you there. And there's a book out that called, and this is an old African proverb that says, "It takes a village to raise a child." And I believe that that's true because we got more than just the family itself. We don't live in this community by ourselves. We got other people that we have to deal with, or have to come into contact with, or have to communicate with, that makes up the community. And you know, we can make it a small area, but it's really an expansion of the whole area. There's a saying that one of the prophets says, saying, if you kill one person, it is though you have killed the whole race. And if you kill the whole race, it is though you have killed the one. So, and what he's saying there is that we as a human beings, we all have something in common. So I can't kill you. And you know, we've said before on the program that the reason we become enemies and dislike each other is because we don't know each other. And I'm not just saying know you by name. We don't have the character of each other, because if we did, then we would start separating those characters.
I would have to say, I would, let me interrupt, but I would say that I think that's across the races. When the black race doesn't like another race or white race or this, it's because of not knowing, not taking the time out to know the person. So you got these built-in fears, these built-in assumptions. But when it's a black person knowing a black person, you know each other. You may be jealous of each other.
Well, we really don't.
Something going. Well, I think it's jealousy. I think it's more than knowledge. I think that I'm jealous of the Reverend Gibbard over here wearing a yellow shirt when yellow's my color. And he wearing a yellow shirt, so now I'm jealous of him. Now I'm mad at him because he got on yellow. So little things like that puts us messes us up. And I think that I know him, but I just haven't taken time out to realize he wasn't trying to hurt me. He's just wearing a color he loves too. And it's enough of that color to love both of us.
All right.
Now you say it takes a village, and many people say it takes a village, and I've heard the African proverb, and many people have used it over the years, many politicians even. But I think that if you're of the village, let's take it a step further. It takes a village, we know, to raise a child successfully. Many communities, Jewish community, the Muslim community, not necessarily the Muslim, Middle Eastern community. There's many communities that they come around and they try to make sure that child gets all the ingredients it needs. And I think the African American community and European American community do the same thing. It's just that we don't see it, I guess, it's across the board as it seems to be. Maybe there's so little pockets of each other community you see it, but if we go over to their country, we'll see that it's not across the board there either. That it's easy to have a little pocket over here in America because you don't have the whole cross-section of the community.
Right.
When you go to their country, you see, okay, that's differences are just like our community. But it takes a village. So if you are of the village, do all you can to help those that are in the village. That needs to be the message, because many times it takes a village to raise a child. So you, Princess, Pastor Garrett, and I, we're raised now. So we're not a child anymore. But what are we doing to reach back to the children of the village to make sure they got all the tools they need to become a successful and productive member of society? And what are we sacrificing? See, the religious text teaches us the love and the sacrifice and the give, but you see it, love, you know, it's okay if you're my best friend and my buddy, I love you, you're the greatest, but what about that person who I don't know? Should I show him love?
Right.
You know, so I need to be that way with everybody. I need to sacrifice. I need to be able to give. If I've got 2 sandwiches in the bag and I'm eating, I see a brother over here that's hungry, sister, black, white, pink, or red, I need to offer them the sandwich and say, hey, you're hungry brother? Or what are we doing to help? What are we doing to be that person that we want to be? What are we doing to be that person that we want to see? If we were that hungry person on the street, wouldn't it be nice if Princess came up to me and offered me one of those pink donuts she's got in her hands? Why, certainly, that would be nice. You know,
Well,
certainly.
that would be. Well, we're gonna take a break right here, Doc, and let Reverend Gilbert take off his yellow shirt. So
We got like Easter thing going on here. Easter
and
things.
we're gonna be right back
All
after
the
these
pastels
brief
commercials.
commercials.
I like that. You gotta-
So stay tuned.
H&H Financial Services in Mobile has over 20 years experience in accounting, bookkeeping, appraisals, real estate, and year-round tax preparations. Give them a call today at 251-438-1620 or visit them at 1560 St. Stephen's Road in Mobile. Let your money grow in our care at H&H Financial Services.
I'm chiropractor physician Dr. James Gordon of the Alabama Injury and Pain Clinic. The biggest problem I see of many of my patients is that they don't have uninsured motorist or UM coverage on their car insurance. So they get in a wreck, they can't get treatment because the insurance is not there from the other side. Ask your insurance agent about UM coverage, and then go see me, chiropractor Dr. James Gordon, if you get in an accident. That's 476-PAIN. The choice is yours.
1480 WERM. It's 12 noon. That means it's that time again on a Wednesday. Time for conversation with Dr. Henry Haseeb. Heard here every Wednesday from 12 noon until 1 p.m.
All right, it's great to be here on this beautiful Wednesday day. Another day, as they say, that the Lord has made. If we want to be a productive individual, we want to have a productive family, if we want to have a productive community, these are some principles that we're going to need to employ to change our environment from a stale environment, or what they call a stalemate environment, to a productive environment.
Amen.
And it starts with self.
Amen. Starts with self. Be all that you can be. I think the old Army mantra, be all you can be. And I'll say that according to Brother Haseeb and I'm in agreement with him. He was saying the physical plus the mental plus the spiritual or moral equals the character of the person. And if all those areas are developed properly and all the tools are given, all the foods and the insights are given in those three levels, which are multiple, then you have a productive member of society, you have a positive adult. And I think that's most important, because to me that's really what's lacking in our community. It's very frustrating when our community will focus on something like, we say we got a food shortage, and there's things we can do to make the food shortage go away, but Pastor Gilbert threw a banana peel on the ground and someone wants to focus on that banana peel on the ground. It's like, we need to be focused over here on making on what we can do to make more food production, and we got time to do that, but we're going to spend half a day on trying to say who dropped his banana peel on the ground. That's what we got to get off the mind. We major in the minors too much in society today. We got to get off majoring in the minors and start looking at the majors. Otherwise, the majors are going to what's going to go to torpedo us.
Well, and what we have to be careful with there, and I know in this modern world we've
Help me out,
seen a
brother.
lot of technology and all.
Yeah.
And it has developed us because we have not addressed what we consider small situation. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We cannot use one wrong to justify another wrong. And people do this a lot. If I am wrong, even with the smallest wrong that I can be, then I should repent myself, as they say in the religious world. I should repent.
Amen.
If you did a bigger wrong, I'm not saying we should go back and start comparing our wrongs.
Well, my Bible says there's
then you should
no
repent.
higher, if wrong is wrong.
Well, it's wrong
But
is wrong.
But what you're saying here, see, if Pastor Gilbert slips or drop a banana peel, don't spend a day telling him about the banana
Right.
peel. Don't bash him for a day on the banana peel.
Mhm.
Eat the banana peel up.
Right.
Simple as that. Quick question, quick move, do it and go on.
Yeah,
or do
right.
it
We
yourself. So it's a wrong, and we address the wrong, but understand
Right.
that the little bitty wrong,
Mhm.
even though there's
And we
no
let the
level
big
of wrong,
wrongs go. That's the
it's
problem.
but address it, give it the time that it requires.
Mhm.
That banana peel should have took 2 seconds, but we spent 4 hours.
Right.
See, and then the thing that we should have spent 8 hours on, we spent 2 seconds,
Mhm.
and we wonder why we have these problems, because we're majoring in the minors. The
Right.
minor is important. All
Right.
all problems are important. You got to fix all problems, but we cannot major in the minors. We cannot major in the minors. We got to major in the major things. Spend the most time on the things that matters the most, or that's going to have the most change and the most impact, and spend the least amount of time on those things that are less problems. There are problems. I agree with you. There's no insignificant problems. There's no insignificant question. They're all important, but there are some that should take 2 seconds.
Right. Well, I agree that sometimes we and I believe we spend that kind of time on, like you said, the little minor things because we don't want to face the major things.
Yeah.
If we're gonna change our environment, then it may start with the little things, because there's
You'd like to disagree with me.
Says,
I like the way you positively disagree.
well, I'm just saying we have to do. It's okay to think big, and I think we all should think big, but it's okay to start small, and that's what we have to realize. I know people that if they can't get it big, they don't want it at all. In order to get, as you say, in order to get rich, if you wasn't born rich, in order to get rich, then you're going to have to take little steps to get there, or steps to get there. You just can't say, hey, I just, as some people say, I just speak it into existence. I've been speaking, I just haven't got the existence.
Faith without works
right.
is dead.
It's dead, right.
Faith without works. You can't say faith is dead. It's faith without works. Faith is good, faith is great, but without the works, so you got to put in. And if putting in means you stop eating out all the time, if you're trying to do a physical increase or economical increase, where are you spending your money? Because you have these teachers out here making a little bit of money, a police officer making a little bit of money compared to $15, $20, $30 an hour, but they could be the richest person in the community because they knew how to stack their chips, because they saved, they didn't eat out every day, they didn't waste money on new cars every year, they know how to save and put the back. But then you got those people who make $1 million a year who could be the poorest person in the community because they buy a new car every year, because they're eating out every day, because they're buying clothes every day. So there's certain things to do to be responsible, and that's there again. That's with that physical, mental, and spiritual. You got to disconnect somewhere. If you got a leak, plug the leak. And it could be a small leak, it could be a big leak, but you got to plug the leak and redirect. You got to be able to change. So as old as I get, I can't be the old dog teaching a new trick. I can't teach an old dog a new trick guy. I got to be the old dog that can learn a new trick if I'm doing something that's wrong. If I'm going down that path that's leading to destruction, then I got to turn my old dog a different direction to say, hey, I got to fix that. Old dog could be age, it could be my shoes. So y'all can't say it's being politically incorrect. I'm talking about myself. So I don't want to hear nothing about no calls about why you calling the old dog. I'm calling myself the old dog, brother, I see. And if I need to change direction, then I need to change direction so I can do better and so I can become that productive member that I want to be. I want to be that change that I want to see. What is it I want to see in Pastor Gilbert? But I need to be that first. What is it I want to see in Brother I see? I want to quit bashing my thoughts. Well, I got to be that first. I got to lift this thoughts up, then maybe I lift my thoughts up. I got to be that change I want to see. So I'm working on me. I got this mirror up and I'm seeing I got to change.
And I always tell people that you have to stand up for truth even if it's against yourself.
Amen.
But one of the problems I see that causes these environments that we're talking about is that, for example, if you make sacrifices all your life, and let's just deal with the workforce. You make sacrifices on your job, and you don't spend 100% of your monies. And I don't make sacrifices. I spend 100% of my money. And now let's say it's time to retire.
Well,
and you have saved up because of these sacrifices that you made to prepare for your retirement, but I haven't. And what usually happens, or what happens in a lot of situations, is because you have made the discipline to change your environment, to prepare for your future, and I didn't. Instead of me taking the responsibility of not preparing for mine, I become envy and jealous of you because you did what I should have did.
Yeah.
And that has done a whole lot to destroy the environment.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just not talking about just the physical here. It destroys and I mean there's so many other things that work with us, and we'll talk about that at another time. How the marriage ceremony, the marriage responsibility in America now is of a person getting married in January, by December, there's a 51% chance that they may be divorced. So we got a lot of environments that's got to change, but the first change has to take place with the individual. And we know how we are influenced by our outer environment, but that's why we gotta determine what knowledge is gonna go in, and it's gotta be based on the spiritual, as we say, the ethics, the morals that we can see right and wrong. And one of the biggest things that I see, because we all have husbands and wives or spouse, and I don't know two human beings that agree on everything all the time. So we have disagreement. But I look at myself when I'm having maybe a disagreement with my wife or somebody else. I have to look. Then I have to go back and look, because we men, we get the big chest. We want to be the boss. Even though the wife at that time may be wrong, we want to be right. And sometimes we don't know we're wrong, right, but because that male energy what that we have in us, libido. As they say, what they call it,
libido.
Testosterone. That we have in us, we don't want to admit when we're wrong. But even if you don't admit it during the discussion, when you think about it, then you know you're wrong, you should go back to that spouse or to whoever. Or that spouse, if they're wrong, then they should come back. And marriages will last longer. Because it's just those disagreements that I'm going to stand my ground, you're going to stand your ground. And a lot of times what we stand in grounds on, as you said, it's not even worth a hill of a bean, whatever that means. So we do that, and we need to be better in that. I hope we have gotten something from our conversation today on changing, creating the right environment for us to be productive and to bring a productive family and neighborhood and community up in.
Well, I certainly learned a lot, Brother Haseeb, and I know you're getting ready to wrap it up, so I'm going to say 30 seconds because it looks like I'm going to run out of time. Before you're going to run out of time before I get to say anything. I'll say that, Brother Haseeb, I learned a lot on this conversation with Henry Haseeb, and I do appreciate it thoroughly. One thing I wanted to close with, stand up for truth even if it's against yourself, is a beautiful statement. And I'll probably use that along the way with my speeches. And I may give you credit half the time.
Well, it's not mine.
Well, that's what I heard. I'm giving you credit.
In the spiritual world, and we're on a spiritual station, a gospel station.
Amen.
Spiritual people say, to God is the glory.
Yeah,
so give it to God. That's who the glory is. Now, see, I'm learning. I'm going through those 3 stages of development like every other human being is. So it's been good, Doc. It's been good having you here. I'm glad you was able to join us today. And we look forward to being back here with you next week.